This video will give you a nice preview of what the Blackboard Ultra environment looks like. I do encourage you to create a free trial version at anthology.com. The link is provided in the email. The tutorial will show you how simple Blackboard Ultra can be, although there's a bit of work to make it your own. Of course, it's a great opportunity for you to then fine-tune your content, kind of curate it in a more meaningful sort of way to adapt to, well, the new learner. And as educators, it is our job to create an environment for our learner that is the best it can possibly be so we can maintain the quality of education. I've gone through the system and I really like it. I really enjoy it. There's parts of the old system I miss, but the new one is nice, seamless, it's very linear, and you're about to get a quick preview of how to make it your own. So once you register at anthology.com/try, you'll get an email from the company that looks like this. Click on the URL link. Notice that your password is down at the bottom. So when you first log into this Blackboard Ultra, you'll get a screen that looks like this. Just simply click the arrow at the bottom and just read any of notifications that you like, and then click Get Started. Now once you log into the trial version of Blackboard, you'll get a main screen that looks like this, and you can scroll down to see if they have any tutorials you might be interested in. But what you want to do is go on the left-hand side and click on Courses. And here what you will find is the first 4 courses are simply for you to get some sort of understanding about accessibility or an example type of a design. What you're mostly interested in is at the bottom where it says My Sandbox Course. So if you click on that, it'll take you into the actual environment. Now first of all, you will get some pre-made content here. The titles might be different when you log in, and I'm just going to delete these. We don't need these, so click on the 3 dots here and delete. 3 dots and delete. So we start from scratch, and this is what scratch looks like. Now first of all, you change the name of your course up here, which for Seneca it won't be possible because your course name will be actually predetermined. So I'm just going to change it, and we'll call it Introduction to Supply Chain. Okay, there we go. So that's a pretty good course name right there. So now let's get down to the actual course so you can make it awesome for your learners. Other than changing the title, which by the way with Seneca will be preloaded, there are some content items across the top, and there will be some content items across the left. Now Seneca ITS will determine which items will be available. For example, analytics will not be, and down on the left some of these might not be for sure. Collaborate, because we don't use it, will not be there, and you'll see that when you get access to it in March. Now first thing you can do is change the banner across the top, and you could do that by clicking the edit pencil on the top right, or you can use over here. You can do course image, right? So let's just click the pencil, and let's see. First of all, you can turn the banner off, which means if you want to maximize the space across the top so more content shows up, you can do something like this. Or let's go back to course image, make it available, and I'm going to upload an image. Now when you upload an image, you have to follow these guidelines in terms of the size, and if you're not sure, talk to Employee Learning, I suppose Teaching and Learning, and they will help you as well. So I'm going to upload an image that I've already made, and let's see if it actually works. Yep, so it'll work, and I could move it around. So it's not perfect sizing, but I'll try to move it around, maybe zoom it in and out, and click Done. And make sure that you have the AOTA or accessibility tags on it. So if it is just purely decorative, just keep that checkbox. But I do have a description for people who need that assistive text, and I'll say SCM 900 course banner. Okay, let's just make our courses nice and compliant for everybody, so to be inclusive. Now let's have a look. At the top, this is where your students will land at the content. Content will always be the landing page. Announcements is no longer a landing page, but I'll show you a trick of how to actually create an announcement later on. There's always a workaround on anything you want to do. There is a really nice calendar feature, and this is for you. To keep track of your own activities for the course itself, or for your students. And what you can do is add calendar entries for due dates, etc. You can always add additional items, new events, by clicking the plus sign. There are discussion boards. So if you were using discussion boards before, the look and feel changes slightly. The good thing is you can actually now add discussions within folders, and more tutorials to come about this. Gradebook is now simplified. It's more linear. You'll be able to add things, but it's a lot easier than to add calculations and items, and the look and feel will be different for you and the students. But I think, in my opinion, it's a lot better. So a future tutorial coming on that as well. This is same as before, messages within the course from you and your students. I still recommend you use your Seneca email and nothing else. So let's go back to content. On the left hand side, you'll see a link for your roster, everybody in the course, if you create groups, things like progress tracking and so on. We'll get into that later on. For now, I want to show you how to build this up. So I already told you that if you had, when you start this trial version of Ultra, you will have some pre-made content. I showed you how to delete it. Now we're going to add our own. Now to add your own, what you can do is you click the plus sign. Actually, what you have to do is you click the plus sign down here, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? Create content? Do you want to copy content from somewhere else? Which means if you had pre-made folders already done that were a set template, you can now just copy them. You don't have to reinvent them. You can upload files and content from somewhere else, PowerPoints, for example. And if, or since your courses are going to be converted automatically from the old version, all of your content will be there in your collection. So all those files and everything you had it uploaded before are still going to be there. You can go straight to content collection. But I'm going to start from scratch, okay? I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for us to kind of revision our courses, to lay out the content, clean it up, fine-tune it for our learners. So let me show you. If you click Create, you get choices. Now, if you were using modules in the past, you can continue to do that. And modules, by the way, make progress tracking and content available based on milestones. If you weren't using modules, leave it alone. Okay, do not touch it. What I like to do is create folders first of all, and then add documents, links, tests, assignments, discussion boards within those folders. It's up to you. Let me show you how. Okay, you click folder. I'm going to change the title of the folder. I'll call it Week 1 Welcome. So I do recommend now that you create Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, all the way to Week 14 folders. The reason is you get to now curate content within those weeks. It's easier for you to follow. It's easier for your students to follow, okay, versus having content all over the place. Now, I could build into the future and then hide things until I need them released, and you could also do automatic releases as well. However, I like to just make things open as I do them, and we'll do a description if you want. The description's not necessary, but you could do something like this section introduces you to the course and Seneca business. There you go, simple. Click Save, and that's what it looks like. Now, before I add things in this folder, let me just add another folder to see what it's going to look like, okay? So I'll click this plus sign, and you can put it above as well. You can go below or above. Plus, create. I'll do my second folder, and we'll call this Week 2, the Canadian Business Landscape. There we go. And we'll make it available. Why not? We will discuss how supply chain influences everything. And I mean everything. Okay, there we go. Done. We have 2 weeks. You build these out. Now here's the fun part. If I click on Week 1, I get this extra plus sign, not this plus sign. That's to add new sections, more weeks. But if you click this plus sign, see this one here? You can now add content within the folder. And by the way, always remember there are 3 dots. You can edit and delete this part here, okay? But I'm going to click this plus sign, and within this folder, I can put pretty much the same stuff. So I'm going to create. I can put a folder within a folder. Now, there might be limits how many folders you can put within folders, but you can give it a try. Now, I can put a document. Let's have a look. Document is just simple text. There's nothing fancy to it. unless you bring in HTML code, if you know what that is. Let's say you found a nice tool online, open source, of course, then you can always copy paste your code into that and upload from your computer directly or your content collection. So let's have a look. We'll add content, which is just your simple text box, and I'll say something like this: area will provide information about the news, da 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 da. So pretty simple, right? I can change the title up here, and I'll just simply say about the news. Okay. Now I can use these font features up here, pretty standard, bold, italics. I can add some math notations here. I can insert code. So again, HTML code right within there, a little bit tricky. Tables I've got. I can insert a link. So for example, if I wanted to highlight information, click the link button. I can copy paste a web address here or type it in like that: www.senecacollege.ca. Okay, and it'll work. That's a link right there. I can attach files if I wanted to. So for example, do an attachment, and I'll show you what it looks like. Attachments look like this, and you have choices: view and download only, view only, download only for your students. Leave it fully open, make your courses as accessible as possible. And documents look like this, right? You don't have a choice unless you make it into a link. Now I could click over here and add more math equations, formulas, calculations. That's a great feature. I can add images in text, media, meaning video files, of course. I prefer direct to YouTube. And then also, if you have stuff in your content collection, you could put it. The difference is this: you can't just insert the image unless it's in your content collection. So if you do image, you have to put a URL of that image, which is a web address. So you can put it up on your Office 360 My Files, if you like, or maybe from a web page or whatever. And you can play around with this later, and more tutorials will be coming around this. And I will show you another trick, though. So let's save it. If you don't want to mess with those sorts of images, but right after this you do want to show a picture, just click plus. And this time we will upload from computer. And I'll just put in, let's say, this logo here. And it will bring it in as a logo. Now don't forget to put your alternate text for accessibility, and we'll call this Seneca Business Logo. Or I'll just say badge. It's not actually our logo. And it will look something like that. So it might not look perfect, I suppose, but at least you have some sort of content that is related to what you put up there. So let me click the X, show you what it looks like, okay? It is hidden from students. Let's make it available. Now let's add one more. So I have week 1 folder. Inside it, there's about news. Let's click plus. This time I will create content, and I'll put a link. So I want to put a link to a website, and the URL is http www.cnn.com, okay, whatever it might be. And you can put a description like view this site daily, whatever description might be there. And of course, you never want to leave just a link right there. You always want to put a description. So let's click save, and that's what it will look like. Okay, it is visible. And oh, I forgot to change the name. How do you do that? 3 dots, edit, and of course the name is up here, right? Don't forget to do that. So Cable News Network. There we go. Now I'm going to add more. Plus, create, and this time I can add, by the way, in addition, if you had content from your publisher that's LTI, there's some sort of connection, IT can help you with that. You can put that in as well. But look at this, I can insert a discussion board and a journal. Now I have to tell you, if you're using wikis are gone, but you can be creative in terms of using discussions and journals to create the same effect. But I'm going to put in a test and or an assignment, and they're pretty much the same as before. Okay, let's do a test. And it opens up. I'm going to name my test first, and I'm going to call this pre-course quiz. Just a short quiz, and it doesn't have to be a graded quiz. A quiz is just a general term. I now get to build out. I can say when the date is, the due date. Is it a test, assignment, whatever category, the points maximum, how many attempts you're allowed. And I like this. It automatically allows you to put into Safe Assign, right? So more to come on this later in a different tutorial, but let me just show you how easy it is to put in questions. I click plus, and these are all of your different types of question formats. And I like Hotspot. If you've never used Hotspot, it's like I can put a picture of an aircraft in supply chain or logistics, and then I could ask them to pinpoint specific parts of that aircraft. And you get the answer right or wrong. So it's like a hotspot, okay? But I'm just going to try out a true false. Pretty simple. Question is all news true? I mean, false, okay? It's none. So I'm going to say false. That's my answer. I could say true, but no, it's false. And I could give automated feedback saying, look at page 14 to 16, or just page 14 for more information. And that's just general feedback. Now, I might say something like, please take some time to review the course recording, or whatever it might be. So correct feedback and incorrect feedback, okay? Now, number of points, is it extra credit? Pretty much like before. So I'm going to click save, and the question will show up like that. So I'm not going to build more because there's another tutorial for this, but it's pretty straightforward. And look, this is what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? Now let's go over to student preview. Oh, wait, quiz is hidden. Let me make that available. There we go. And by the way, you notice release conditions as well, right? You can put release conditions, meaning this only gets open if this was looked at. Or you can say week 2 folder only opens if the pre-course quiz was done. Okay, things like that. Future tutorial. Now let's have a look at student preview. And this is what it's going to look like. The student will see all your content laid out like this. Now you can always move content backwards if you want. So week 1 at the bottom, week 2 above it, etc. But when a student clicks on week 1, all your content is laid out like this. And you decide how you want to do that. You can put all text. Try not to make it too lengthy. People don't want to scroll down page after page. Make sure that you make it, the flow has to be good. The flow has to be meaningful without overburdening. So there's nothing wrong with creating multiple folders if you have a lot of content, right? Like week 2A, week 2B, something like that. I'm going to exit preview mode. And if you wanted to add, just as an example, an announcement and always keep it to the top, you can always click plus, create, and you can have maybe an image in there. A PowerPoint slide could be your announcement. Or you can just create a document, content, and then just type in your announcement up here. And what happens then is you can just keep it all the way at the top like this, new document, right? X out, and don't forget to log out when you're done. So start early, explore, enjoy, and remember, teaching and learning at Seneca has a lot of great support resources to guide you along your journey.